thinking that you're gonna, hey, I'm gonna know everyone just by clicking join.
And that you know what? I never thought of that, but that's a great way to look at it. If you just go into a stream team, a large stream team, and you look on the right side, you'll see people that have their Twitch linked because their dot will be purple, right? You'll know that they're live, and then you can right click on their name and just go to their stream right away. And that's a good way to engage the community. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, that's the problem I have. I'm always like invisible on Twitch or on Discord.
Right now you are actually.
Yeah, it's when I first started gaining viewers, I was playing kids games.
Yeah.
You know, like Unturned and Roblox, and it got to the point where just a bunch of random kids would just message me, and just like all these notifications of kids messaging me. I don't have a problem with it, but like when I'm sitting here, even when I'm not streaming and it shows that I'm on, I'm like watching YouTube, and you just hear that notification sound just go off in your ear. I'm like, I'm gonna just go invisible for a while.
I muted notifications back in 1982, man. I like that's the worst thing in the world. And I love
to do that.
What I did is I have a few platforms that exclusively have notifications, and only certain people get invited to those applications. So it's almost like getting my phone number, right? If I want my wife to be able to contact me while I'm at my desktop. So naturally, I don't use just text and stuff. I tell her, I said, just, use another application to text me or whatever. And I see that pop up on my desktop. That way, I'm never like, well, my phone was charging or it vibrated,
Yeah.
And we can also use that on my phone. And when we go places, I can give it to other people, and it's a direct contact for me. So it works pretty well. But one of my moderators actually told my Discord admin told me that you can set it to where you only get notifications for certain things. And I need to start looking into that because it might be a little more interesting to look at that. But
yeah, there's still a lot of stuff on Discord that I don't know. I had one of my mods just set up everything. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
I'm pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. But the good thing about having a strong community is the support system that's in place, right? So there's some examples of community like F2K, the community that I'm in, as well as communities that are like there was one that was called Team Kitty, and there's another team called New Game Plus, and they're both really, really big organizations with some flagship streamers like. I forget who runs Team Kitty or who the flagship streamer is. I think it's Kitty Plays. And the flagship streamer for New Game Plus is Co-Carnage. So, naturally, that brings a lot of clout to the team or whatever. But if you're getting auto-hosted with a quality selection of people like that, and you're in a community that you can get low boost, let's say you're 2 followers away from getting affiliate, and you're just making that push to affiliate. It's real easy to be able to post in chat and just rally support a little bit, and people would just help blow you up,
There's more than enough people that would be, hell yeah, let me go in there and help them out.
Exactly. And some of these stream teams are really well put together. I know Team Kitty, I listened to Bashany Christ talk about Team Kitty quite a bit, and they do uniforms for their team. They have like these welcoming rituals, but it's not easy to get into the team, right? They recruit, and you can join, but it's only for females, first of all. So there's no males allowed, and they'll grab somebody that they want to be part of their team, and they'll go through it. And a lot of the teams that I've been seeing actually have some real sophisticated stuff, like in F2K. I got into quest mode in the F2K community, and the community management software that they use is actually the quest mode system, or through Opera Event. So it's like some milestones that you have to do. Like it'll check things. Like when I'm doing my gaming content. Or any of my pre-shows, you'll see that there's a carousel on stream that'll basically have the sponsors that F2K represents rolling in the back. And the carousel installation is something that's verified through Opera Event to make sure that it's actually happening, like the people are actually holding up their bargain, or if you have the right panels installed on your stream. It's like a checks and balances system. That way you meet the partner requirements, or you have the team selected as your main team and your metrics checked off,
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
It is. So, and anybody can use it. So if you wanted to start your own stream team today, you can do that. You can start your own community and your own stream team and set it up through Opera Event to where people would have this onboarding process in order to get in. If you had some stuff that was all lined up for people to do in order to be a team. And F2K has ranks for their streamers, right? They have silver, gold, and then they actually have the stream team. And nice. You have different qualifications for meeting those, and some of those are milestones that you have to achieve. So it's pretty cool.
It's always something to, something to look forward to. That's what I like.
So let's talk about esports now. Not esports as in competitive gamers, because you nor I are really competitive gamers. We might be good at some stuff, but let's face it. The way that I use esports organization is as an entertainer. And F2K is entertainment and esports organization. So it's basically a collective of both of those things in one box. But esports is defined as a form of competition using video games and commonly takes from the form of organized multiplayer competitions, particularly between pro players, individuals, or teams. So my first experience with esports in general was the same as a lot of people probably saw, and it was through League of Legends. I used to watch LCS tournaments, and I don't know if you've ever played League of Legends or if most people have at least one time, and aside from the crazy community and how savage people can really be, it's really, really, it's such a skill-based game that you automatically know when you're up against a people that have a decent team.
Oh yeah.
And if you see some of the ranked matches, like these players are so skilled. Like there's no way people that don't commit hours and hours and hours every day to be competitive can ever dream of being this good at a game. And it's kind of like watching regular sports, right? You're watching these super powered professional athletes do something at the peak of their ability. People with extreme dexterity, strength, genetics, and practice, and years of practice get into these games and they perform. Whereas if you get on that field, not only would the 300-pound linebacker crush you when they tackled you, so you're not physically fit to be able to do that, but it just takes so much practice, you wouldn't be able to follow them. And esports is kind of like that in the competitive version.
Yeah.
But through esports, I learned that there was a lot of interest. Some of the largest crowds, ever since Ninja really came around, were on esports events. Like, the League of Legends has been in the top 5 streamed games forever, right?
Way up there.
Right, and a lot of that fame come from esports. So it only makes sense that these organizations start getting behind the entertainment aspect of it too, and these communities that form around them, because there's a lot of draw and there's a lot of advertising revenue, right? So esports teams, I was talking a little bit yesterday in my stream chat, and somebody eloquently put this so well. I was trying to explain a little bit about F2K and why I joined an esports organization. And he said, when I was just fumbling over words, and he put it like this: a team of streamers can reach out to bigger companies with higher revenue streams by combining their viewing metrics. They market themselves as a single entity, not a separate people. So, as an example, a presentation from an esports organization or a stream team would be, our group wants a substantial sponsorship from your company, because combined we could deliver more ads, views, more projected sales, more signups, more conversions than a single individual. And that's where it really, really lies. When we were talking about flagship streamers hitting stream communities, if you were to make a stream team and your concurrent viewership is 100, and you had 50 people that had an average viewership, concurrent viewership of between 10 and 50, your combined numbers presented to a sponsor shows that your reach is high. And you can take things like this Opera Event Manager and the requirements that you can roll into to be able to show the sponsors or projected sponsors how you would deliver this advertisement to your reach, you know? And
yeah, I mean,
that equates to some real power there. And it's just like, remember when you used to go to the baseball games and football games in high school and elementary? You have this fence that surrounds the park, right, or the gymnasium, and there's these signs from local sponsors. They actually bought billboards to be able to do that. So that's how esports is, right? When the last LCS tournament that I was watching, all they did throughout it, like every once in a while they would highlight or recap a play, and they would be like, you know, this replay is sponsored by, you know, and it was that simple, but they were able to say that brand name repeatedly in front of 185,000 people that were watching that stream. And that's not counting all the highlight reels that take place. That's not counting all the VOD views. That was just live.
Yeah.
So that's super powerful, man. And that's why esports organizations are so popular, I think, is because of that advertising power. But I think a lot of people that are watching this stream and listening to this podcast are probably wondering right now, should I stream? Should I join a stream team or an esports organization or a stream group or a community in general? So, in your experience as an Aerox streamer, what kind of requirements and benefits do you have? You don't have to share anything personal, but what kind of requirements and benefits do you see as an esports streamer?
I was talking to the owner last night, and I was telling him, I was asking him pretty much the same question, and I was like, I feel like I'm taking more than what I'm giving, and he's like, dude, no, seriously, you give a lot more than what you think. I'm like, well, explain it a little bit, because, you know, I mean, I get a free jersey, chair, you know, I get like all this stuff. I get so much support from them, but it feels like I'm just taking, not giving. He said, no, it's like the amount of viewers that like, doesn't matter, like, you bring it in, you help out us, you get our name out there for us, you know, not really free, because, you know, I get discounts on the sponsors, I get, you know, some free stuff, you know what I mean? And pretty much just like the whole community that they have going in with Aerox, it's, you always have somebody to talk to, you always have somebody that plays the same games. So I keep feeling, even after talking to him, that I feel like all the benefits are for me, you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't, it's really hard to say, because I keep feeling that in the back of my head, that all the benefits are just benefiting me and not them. But when he breaks it down, it's like, no, all the viewers that, you know, that you get that come in through your channel, or like I got a couple other streamers into Aerox. But it's, I don't know, it's really hard to like break it down. I've been trying to do that.
I hear you.
I've been trying to break it down, and it's really hard, but it is a mutual benefit.
Right.
And like the requirements to get in, I was just streaming, I can't even remember. I think I was streaming Ultima, actually. And one of the recruiters came in my chat, hey, do you mind if I message you? And then he was just telling me all the stuff. I said, script sounds fun.
Yeah, there you go. and that's what it really comes down to. If the benefits kind of work for you based on the requirements. So what are some of the things that you've done that they've asked you to do, not of your own accord? Like, what are some of the things they've said? Okay, Spike, we'd like you to do this for us.
Pretty much like my title. Every time that I do a gaming stream, I put Aerox esports streamer.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, so like, go ahead and put in like your chat. You know, have Nightbot with times and everything. Put in the sponsors. Do the code to get discounts for anyone who wants to, you know, buy anything from the sponsors. And pretty much just be respectable to other members. And that's really the only thing they've ever like told me to do. And they've given me free reign on it, pretty much. I mean, that sounds kind of weird being, you know, a streamer from them, but they're so laid back. As long as you don't pretty much make a fool of yourself and us in the same process.
I've seen this. I've seen similar from F2K, even though I'm under contractual obligation now through some stuff. There's nothing that I was doing before that I'm not doing now, and the benefits just increased. Now, it's a little bit more strict now because I'm under contractual obligation, but the way their program works, if you're in a gold tier streamer, you really don't, like, you either buy in or you don't, right? You either you either part of the team to get the benefits and to do what's required of you, or you're not. And the only difference between the gold and what I'm doing in the stream team is that I'm kind of under obligation to be able to do it. That's my end of the bargain, right? I can't just say, well, I don't feel like doing it this week. It's just a thing now. But I felt the same way, like the benefits. When I was going into the contract, I asked a bunch of my friends. My wife was reading over the contract, everybody. But I asked, and I talked to my partner manager about it, and I was like, it feels too good to be true in the back of my mind, and I wanted other people to kind of give me that same skepticism, and Drax did. Drax was throwing down the hammer like, hold on, boy, you honeymooning right now. I know you're happy and proud and all this stuff, but you really, and he discouraged me. He discouraged me 100%, but he's a good friend, and that's his job. You need a cynic to be able to do that sometimes to make sure that you're not just impulsing. And I thought about it. It didn't take me long to make the decision, but I thought about it really thoroughly, and it benefited me really well. But I think that's the bottom line with stream teams and organizations in general. Know that if a team wants you, that there will be some requirements that are involved. Whether you're held to them, excuse my French, at gunpoint, or whether it's something that they just ask you to do. Almost every sponsorship type of agreement that I've ever gone through has some sort of obligation that the person that's paying you or giving you the benefit, or the organization that's paying you or giving you the benefit, needs you to do. They're not just going to be like, oh, we just want to pay you. But there has to be something. There has to be something, and sometimes there's going to be some times where you look at something and you really don't like the way it's presented. For Twitch bounties, I don't know if you've ever seen any Twitch bounties, but Twitch bounties, Twitch has a bounty program that you can basically sign up to play certain games or stream certain trailers or shows or commercials and stuff like that, and you get paid based on your viewership with that. And one of the clauses in there is that you have to meet a certain viewership requirement. And another clause is that you really have to not badmouth it. So a lot of people would consider that selling out, right? A lot of people would say, well, if you don't like it and you're talking good about it, that's bad. Well, if you don't want to sell out, technically you shouldn't even do that sponsorship.
Do what's comfortable. Right. I mean, if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it.
Exactly. Do what's comfortable. Do what you think, and know what type of stuff is going to be asked of you. I remember before I signed my F2K contract, I had a number of points that was brought up by Drax, by my wife, and of my own curiosity.
My phone's really hot.
And I went and asked them to clarify that all before I submitted it. And even after my submission, there were still a few areas that were unclear to me that I asked about, even though I had already signed. And that wasn't because I just didn't look at it well. It's just that the practical application of it seemed different. So even going into it without 100% understanding can be scary, because all of a sudden you just committed to something, and now they ask you to do something, and you like, wait, I didn't know that was part of the deal. And that's a very awkward situation to be in. And as a business, they recruited you to be able to do that job. So if you can't do it, there can definitely be some bad stuff around there. So always weigh your pros and cons, especially what they want to do. Usually, if you have an attitude of service and you see the benefits, it's just something that you're going to get along with it, along with the support support system, then it's probably a good choice. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours. You know, it really is.
The choice is yours, and if anybody who's listening to this wants to join an organization or team or something like that, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask as many questions as you want, because if something pops up later on that, like, I don't remember this and I'm not comfortable with this, like, if it is a contract, like, if you have to be within something within a certain amount of time, you can't back out. So, like, always ask as many questions as you want before saying, yeah, I'll join.
Right. Yeah. And get a second pair of eyes to look. I think a lot of people would actually benefit from getting an attorney if the legal prose is deep enough. The contract that I specifically signed was very, very easy to read. It was in layman's terms. There were a few notes that I didn't really know what they meant because of industry, like, jargon.
I'm the same way.
But if you've ever looked at a contract or, like, any sort of... If you've ever been mailed one of those things that asked you to sign up for a class action lawsuit, just glaze over the legal prose and see how utterly ridiculous it is to understand what they're talking about. It's herein, therefore, art thou. They just, like, the words that they use and the way that they use them are almost undecipherable without an attorney's help.
Those class action lawsuits, I don't even think they're worth it trying to read it.
No, right. I think I might get sued just, like, trying to read this off, you know?
Yeah.
It's really bad. It's really bad. I don't know why in the world legal prose has to be that crazy, but that's why lawyers get paid so much. It's like trying to understand a doctor's handwriting, you know? That's why they get paid the big bucks. Yeah. I know what a femur is. Yeah, but I don't know. I can't spell it, you know? They have all that stuff. They have all that stuff in script where you can't duplicate their instructions. I think that's what one of them already told me. Like, my handwriting's so bad so nobody could forge my name. Like, I know somebody that could forge your name. I just drink too much coffee and just let my hand go to town. You know? Looks like you're just nervous.
That's what my one of my lieutenants at one of my other security jobs, he had Parkinson's, and he said the exact same things. I'll just give you the pen, I'll rest my hand there, and I can sign the doctor's note.
Yeah. Where is it?
So, with the stream teams and the organizations that we talked about, esports and stuff, if you're interested in looking into a community at any sort of level or an esports organization, probably the easiest thing you do is when you find someone like Spike or myself that are part of these organizations, all you have to do is go into their information section of their Twitch streams, and you can probably look. I have one of my first panels that you can see is community, or you can go into my chat and hit !community in the chat, and it'll give you a link to go where there's more information about the teams that they're part of and a little bit about the community itself. And most of them have Discords that are public, that even though there's ranks, you can go in and get a feel for what that community's like and see if it's a good fit before you make any commitments. Maybe make some friends, maybe do like Spike suggested and watch a couple of the streamers that are in those organizations and see if these are the type of people that you want to make an investment of your time with, because these could be the people that you're working with in a few months, you know, or it could be the type of people that give you the impression that you don't want to work with them. So, it's really, really important to just make careful decisions when joining these things, especially if there's no way out. Even if there's no way out, it's always awkward when you make a commitment of any kind and then you have to get out of it, unless it's as easy as just quitting a Discord. And then you could still get DM'd from the people that actually care, and because they could see analytics on Discord, they could see who's joined and who hasn't, and be able to go in and be like, hey, I saw you were part of Discord for 2 days and then you left. Could you, they might want to give you an exit interview, and now all of a sudden you're like, deer in headlights. I just noticed that you people like the Packers, the football team, and I just don't like them. It could be something simple like that, but it could bring to light some real issues that you had with the team, and you'll never really know that until you kind of investigate that community for yourself and stuff. But
even quitting like that, even if you're not want to be a part of them anymore, what you did by quitting and telling them, it's like, well, I didn't like this, and this. It actually helped helps them grow as a team. They can make some changes. Like, okay, well, some people don't like this. We need to, within reasonable way to change some stuff. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. If there's anything that doesn't resonate well with you, I remember going into quest mode for the first time recently was actually my second time looking at it. And I don't know if you remember BitBoss, but
yeah.
BitBoss was the original platform that all of this stemmed from me. So I found BitBoss, and then I applied for BitBoss Beta, which was going to give me some overlays for BitBoss and make it a little bit more customizable. And then the CEO of the company sent me an email about doing this new sponsorship thing that they had, and I didn't even remember the name of it, but it involved talking about different things that I thought would take attention away from my stream. And that's how I looked at it. I had a really negative outlook at the time, and one of the reasons was the email that they sent had an example type of presentation that people would give for quest mode, and it was a guy talking about Hulu. So I'm not a television guy, first of all, and all I could see in my eyes, in my little narrow-minded vision, was this guy trying to sell people Hulu memberships on his stream. And it was the most distasteful thing I had thought I'd seen. I was like, this dude is complete sellout, is what I saw, you know? So I dismissed it, and, you know, I told the guy, Brandon, that runs BitBoss and Opera and Quest Mode and all this stuff. I was like, man, I can't get behind this, you know? And he's like, hey, don't worry, just everything, you know, it's not for you. There was no pressure at all. And he said, if you ever change your mind, let me know. And a lot of one of his employees that was a person that had frequented my stream for a long time, WindyGod, which still comes into my chat all the time, was there to answer some of my questions when I decided to go back into quest mode. And when I approached it again, is because I saw one of the F2K members. He goes by the name of Joel Norbs or Jorbs on Twitch. He's a very successful streamer that plays Slay the Spire. And Jorbs was talking about quest mode in a way that was like, I was like, oh, well, this is what it's all. You don't have to sell Hulu to people. All you gotta do is say thanks. And for the people that were begging for subs, you ever had somebody come in your chat and be like, somebody give me a sub, or I wish I could sub?
Yeah.
Quest mode's just like, hey, you can install a game on your phone and get a free subscription. You don't have to pay anything. And it was such a neat concept, the way that he presented it. And the way that he presented it was opt-in advertising. I talked about this again yesterday. So an organization that, like Twitch, shows you advertisements unless you pay to get out of them or you use an ad blocker, right? So that's called opt-out advertising, because you can choose to skip, to shorten the advertisement. Opt-in advertising is, I'm actually going to do this for money, kind of like watching an ad for bits if you're already subscribed to a channel. That feature was recently discontinued, by the way. I was sad to see that, but thankfully there's still stuff like Quest Mode that allows you to actually support a streamer when you don't have the funds to do it.
I got into Quest. I have like the Quest Mode and everything activated. Mm-hmm. I just don't know much about it. I need to ask a little bit more questions on it.
Yeah, if you know what the best thing to do is? Actually use it. Find a streamer that uses Quest Mode, sign up for their Quest Mode, and just link your Twitch to their Quest Mode, and just try to get the points that you can use to do it. Just install a mobile game, and when you're on the toilet or when you're on a trip that somebody else is driving, or when you're not busy at work, play this game instead. And when you earn 5,000 sub points, you go into their channel next time and you just sub for free. It's pretty easy. Quest Mode is fun. Cobb gifted my buddy Cobb that's in the chat right now gifted like 50 subs using Quest Mode or something like that. 20 something or 30 something. I thought it was a lot. And he was like, this is the easiest thing in the world. And they have some really good games. I played a few of them. The game. But that's in general, that's how that worked out for the team. And because the organization it just all happened to be there, it worked out great. But I didn't know about any of this until I found out BitBoss and then Quest mode and eventually F2K and how it was presented.
Yeah.
That's how I got into the community. So you got to kind of dig, right? You got to kind of see something that you see a benefit about, and you're like, hey, I like that, or this stream team or whatever. Jorbs was talking good about F2K, so I wanted to get into it. Just like when you and I talked about Aerox a long time ago, you didn't have a whole lot of info on Aerox that really got to me. And when I saw the size of Aerox, I was like, well, my reach is a little bit different, right? I have a pretty broad reach, and Aerox is a growing company. And right now, my reach is actually larger than Aerox combined. So it was easy for me to make a decision and say this is not for me, because unless I wanted to really use my own resources to help develop the company, there was not enough mutual benefit for me to make that decision. And that's why I said I was going to go with my own. I was going to focus on my own brand, And
that's what I was saying. Like if you joined Aerox, like you would be pretty much helping them grow, not the other way around.
Right. But anyway, guys, that is the majority of the content that we have for the topics, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And I hope this kind of gives you an idea of what stream teams and communities and esports streamers are all about, and helps you make some decisions about doing that on your own if that's something that you want to pursue. Spike's info is going to be in the show notes, as well as the stream. We can do a shout out for him in chat if somebody would, and you can click on his stream and see a little bit about his group, the teams that he's on, and a little bit about Aerox if you have that in your info section. Spike.
Yeah, I have a link that goes right to it.
There you go.
A panel.
There you go. And in my stream and in the show notes, we'll have links to F2K or exclamation point community in the chat that you can click on and check out to find more about that. And the Discords for both of those, I assume, will also be involved in those links. But thank you very much, Spike, for joining me for the podcast and sharing your experience with Aerox. I didn't have a whole lot of experience in esports teams or communities outside of what I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
You shed a whole lot of light on some of the differences that are in our own communities and the esports organizations that we're part of. So thanks, man.
No worries. Thanks for having me on here. I like podcasts.
As we mentioned in the show, communities and stream teams can be great organizations to be part of, but only if the benefits apply to what you desire to get in exchange for the time and obligation you give back to that organization. Ask questions, research, and thoroughly make up your mind before you make commitments about decisions regarding communities and teams, especially when contracts are involved. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and I hope that this podcast gives you some insight on how it all works and what to look for when you make choices and decisions about it yourself. I want to thank Spike for being here today, and be sure to check out the show notes to find his info, as well as all the links to the F2K community that I'm part of. For more talks like this, you can subscribe to the podcast so you hear these episodes every week, or you can come by and watch them on twitch.tv/Suljan when I do them live. I also provide more specialized individual and group coaching for content creators and streamers that you can find more about at patreon.com/Suljan. Once again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you back here for the next Create and Relate podcast.
Yeah.
What's the matter? Huh?
Nothing, I'm alright.
You're bum.
Yeah. I'm bummed, that's it.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? You know, when I was trying to get this podcast thing off the ground, I had a lot of questions like how do I record an episode? And how do I get my show into all these apps that people love to use? And how do I make money from my podcast? And the answer to every one of these is quite simple. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you could get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Go to anchor.fm/start and record your first podcast today. Hello, creators, and welcome to the Create Relate podcast, where we talk about creating content and growing your influence. Today, we're talking about a subject that may look simple to some, but terrifying to others. We all need it. We all use it. Everyone can improve, and it can make or break your stream. It's about what to say in your streams and how to interact with chat. And we have Stub GKG. Some people call him Steve, some people call him Stub. A lot of people call him Stubbs. Why they want to make you plural, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea what that S just finds its way in there.
And every time I see the barbecue sauce brand Stubbs with that old guy, I know, with that old guy on the front, I'm like, that's my boy. No, anyway.
But I don't quite fit that picture either.
No. Stub is a...
Chris has tried chatting to me.
Chris is what? Chris is what?
Yeah, it's gone. But I don't know why it's gone. I don't know what's happened. Hello, you. How you doing? Yeah, they're gone now, darling.